Hey there, for the 6th straight season, the Flames are going bowling.
How about it? It's been a while since we've gotten to have a victory podcast.
It's been a while.
I think it's been a whole month.
No, stop.
No, I do.
Well, that's right. They only played.
Yeah, because all those.
They only play like one game a month.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Who's Ethan Crisp? I don't know, but he's from Tennessee, and we need his family to travel to every single Flames
bring
game
the
moving
whole
forward.
Crisp clan to every.
Let's do it.
How do you like your fries, Matthew?
Crisp.
Crispy.
Crisp. Nice and crisp.
Oh my gosh. Thanks so much for joining us. We have a great show ahead. Men's basketball pulled out a
Thriller.
big victory on the road at Seattle, so we'll bring on.
And what happens when you make a big shot?
Hey, baby.
You come on the podcast.
That's
done.
Kaden Metheny.
Done.
You knock down a game winner, you come on the podcast.
It's actually in the contract, you know,
This
when
is
you
the
sign with
playmakers.
Liberty.
The playmakers come to the Flame Central podcast,
It's the
powered by Alcova
big-time
Mortgage.
playmaker podcast.
Right.
I bet by the time that ball, the net hadn't stopped moving, Emily was on the text.
Yeah, that's right.
Podcast.
Podcast.
Monday.
Yeah, and then, you know, Ethan Crisp, I guess you can come on, you know.
We may need to get him off. He keeps
Yeah,
playing
he
like
needs
that.
Crisp on it.
Yeah.
Keep playing like that. So, big win for both football and men's basketball. We'll talk to Kaden Metheny here in a little bit. What was this game to you guys, though? Obviously, it's much different after that Liberty locker room. They needed this road victory. Going bowling, so things must look good. We'll talk a little bit about some of the other CUSA games and what that means moving forward. But what did you see out of that group on Saturday?
I mean, I think they got back to, and Jamie Chadwell even said, about the offense, we needed to get back to our identity.
Right.
And I think you saw that in this game. 339 rush yards, a season high. But more exciting to me was you saw a little bit more of that attacking the edge with the option than you had throughout the season. And you saw a guy that we talked about before the season even began and said, this could be a guy that kind of fits in that Bedgood role a little bit, and that's Juju Gray.
Juju Gray.
And he's finally healthy, and you saw the explosiveness he provides.
Wait, is he on my fantasy team?
He is on your fantasy
yes,
team.
Okay, that's what I thought. But I didn't. I almost dropped. I think I did drop him. And
yeah, 81 yards combined between receiving and running, 2 touchdowns. You saw the explosiveness. He did have the one bad fumble early in the game on a swing pass, but you saw a little bit more of that, and they got back to, I think, who they are offensively. I think
season high,
Salter
339
threw the
yards
ball
on the
just
ground.
15 times. Like if you're living in that kind of area where he only has to throw up 15 to 20 times, you're liking that. You're finding success on the ground. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, this is what you're supposed to do against bad teams.
Right.
And Middle Tennessee is a bad team. They were, penalized. I think it was about 100 yards in penalties. They were out, sending guys on, sending them off, like they were just out of sorts. This does not look like a program that's in a great spot right now. And that's what you're supposed to do to teams like that. So it's good to see the Flames just go in there and take care of business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was, almost exactly what you're saying there, is that there's really, 3 things offensively. And that was, Liberty's an inside running football team with Cooley.
Yeah.
Okay. And he got the rock 24 times. And you saw early on, Cooley was on a mission.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was fighting and scratching and clawing and grinding for every single yard that he could. Like when you thought he was down, the pile then moved forward
He's
again.
so great.
Right? Like he's great, right? So he's your inside running guy. And then to get back to what you said, get back to your roots, and that is that triple option attack. And to be able to run them ball between tackles, and then you spread them, make them run horizontally, and you spread them out and use your option game there. Now they caused a couple turnovers there, but it was back to really who they were and who they are, and then finding Juju Gray as that Bedgood type of player. It was really a difference maker. But the thing that they've done really well is they've brought the option part of the game back, and that has helped them a lot. And then the other side of it too is you realize, which I've always said, is that where is Kaden most effective? And he threw the ball from the pocket well. Mm-hmm. I thought he made some really nice throws when it counted from the pocket. So overall, I just think that they've set themselves up to be who they really are.
Joe, it seems like the last couple of games, especially, we've seen Kaden running the ball more, a more willing runner. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like earlier in the year he was doing that as much? We came into the year and we remember talking to him here. And he said, what do I want to prove? I want to prove I can sit in the pocket and throw the football. That's what I want to prove. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like here lately we've started to see more of him just saying, you know what? I'm a great athlete.
Yeah.
Why don't I just make something happen with my feet a little more? Because he rushed for almost 100 yards, 94 yards rushing in this game and a score. Like, it feels like he's getting a little bit more active on that side of things as well.
And I think, too, it's like, and it's what, I don't know if Jamie said this on the record, off the record was, but when the one time he talked about how, like, teams were trying to understand how to defend them by making them become more patient, right? Like in the RPO game, we're going to take away your explosives. That's it. We're going to make you, will you show enough patience to run the ball down the field? And I think what he's realized is like, okay, let's get back to that inside run. And if they're going to give it to us, let's take it. Let Cooley do it. He does 24 carries, obviously. Get back to the option game. And what that does is when you can combine those two things, then you can spread the field more. Once you can spread the field more, then you can say, okay, what was Kaden really good at? He's good at using his legs. So let's create our explosives, maybe not downfield with bombs through the air, as you don't have C.J. Daniels obviously anymore. Let's create them through going back to Kaden using his legs. And I think when you take those three things, now you're starting to see what the 2024 offense of Liberty looks like. It's taken a few games. They went through their lumps, but I think you're starting to think like what their identity is.
Yeah, like I said, 339 yards on the ground. That is a season high. On the other side of the ball, you have a defense who showed up to play, 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. What was different about the way this defense came together?
Well, again, it's not a great Middle Tennessee team, so let's put that out there. But
aren't they like building like a huge new athetic football center and stuff?
Construction.
I don't know. But you mentioned the energy that Ethan Crisp brought.
Talking about recruiting players because it's coming.
What?
Crisp.
He played 10 snaps, was the most snaps he played in a game prior to this one. That was against FIU. He played 32 snaps in this ball game, 2 tackles for loss, fumble recovery. He brought a lot of energy on that side. And we talked about it, I don't know if it was last week or the week before. It's time in the season where if you're Chadwell and his coaching staff, you need to identify who are those guys that we can play with moving forward in some ways. Some of the older guys at linebacker, the additions maybe haven't produced as much as we had hoped. And so you say, all right, here's a great opportunity. Young guy, let's throw you out there a little bit more. Let's see what you got. Who knows what he's been showing in practice. It must have been good to get that kind of opportunity. And he showed up in a big way, brought a lot of energy on the defensive side. You saw C.J. Bazell get back there. He had a sack. Wasn't the best game statistically from T.J. Bush. It's exciting to see other guys step up because he's the guy you always know is going to bring it. And if they have a big game, typically he's at the center of it. I think maybe that's the most exciting part of it. You saw some of these other guys step up on the defensive side.
You know, my first thought this morning, I woke up and I walked outside. I go, you know what it feels like out here?
Crisp fall. I mean, you can go a lot of directions with this thing. A lot of directions.
I like the French fry one better.
You know, and the thing with Liberty's defense is this: is like what people don't realize, like how young they are. You know, like this is a young defense. They're playing a lot of young guys, right? And so that takes time. And then on top of that, it's exactly what you said. Maybe it's taking some time to give guys some shot. You know, what's the one thing players always, it's like, what do players always say? Coach, just give me a shot. Right. I just need my shot, right? Yeah. And then a lot of times you get the shot and like, it's not so good, right? You know, so the whole like, give me my shot, like these coaches are taking a guy like Ethan Crisp and saying, okay, here's your shot. Yeah. So now you're starting to see some guys that are stepping up in that role, and so it's like, hey, you get your shot. Let's do something with it. And you got some guys doing it. Some of these young guys. What year is he?
Redshirt freshman.
Transfer
from Vandy.
There's a perfect example. I mean, that's a guy that's got a great future.
Well, I am excited to find out about what the Flames fantasy updates are because I feel like I had a big game.
She doesn't remember who's on her team, but she feels like she had a big game.
In the back of my mind, I feel like I might have had a big game. Yeah.
I'm just trying to put it out in the environment. Oh, by the way, this is the Flame Central podcast, and it's powered by Alcova Mortgage. Other feelers that we're putting out there is like, maybe I want to be in a new home before the holidays hit. If you are thinking that way, I have a guy for you.
Yeah, there is no doubt. And then, you know, with the election now settled up, right?
Yes.
Is that over?
I believe it's over. I believe it's over.
Actually, you were going to sing something this morning.
I was?
Yeah. God bless America.
Oh, yeah, I thought about that this morning. Did I say that before? Because I was.
We're not sure. We had gone back and forth on if you were going to do your Lee Greenwood impersonation, but.
God bless America.
No, that wasn't it. You were going to do the God Bless the USA.
Oh, God bless the USA.
Yeah, okay. No, it was, okay, whatever.
Oh, no, it was, I'm proud to be an American.
Yeah.
You know what, while we're at that, I want to give a little Veterans Day shout out.
Absolutely.
Can I do that?
Happy Veterans Day.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. I want to give a little Veterans Day shout out. I'll give a special shout out to my Uncle Walter. Uncle Walter, still alive, retired lieutenant colonel from the Marines, served two tours of duty in Vietnam, and took a bullet for his country.
Wow.
Took one right in the leg, in this leg, out that part of the leg, back in the other leg. And and then came and lived the American dream in the United States. Started a mortgage company called Westar Mortgage, and sold it back in 2015. Let's say Uncle Walter's doing
Doing okay.
Yeah.
He's doing all right.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, Uncle Walter.
And I'd also like to give a shout out to two fine Alcova employees.
That's right.
Peyton Woodall, part of the Bedford Boys,
Yeah.
right? The Bedford Boys. And Andrew Hall, part of the Bedford Boys, also serving through the United States Army, also work for Alcova Mortgage, and they also served over in Somalia for a year for their tour. So we're thankful for those two fine young American patriots and the patriots around this country.
Thank you so much for your service and the ultimate sacrifice for our country and our freedom. So happy Veterans Day.
Yes.
We do have a piece coming out on Liberty Flames account a little bit later today, because there are
a lot of athletes that have parents that are in
Yeah.
the military here or siblings. And so, yeah, we caught up with a few of those.
So thank you for your service. Okay, but there's also, our point was also
She's trying
about
to set you
getting
up.
home
Oh, yeah,
for the holidays.
Alcova.com.
Finish the
So, hey,
deal.
for all you veterans out there, Liberty employees, whatnot, and alumni, Alcova.com/Liberty.
We'll take care of you.
We'll take care of you. 1% up to $5,000 off your closing costs. Unbelievable deal. Yeah. We're doing these things like it's like pancakes at the IHOP Sunday after church. It's almost too easy.
Yes.
We will get to our conversation with men's basketball's Kaden Metheny in just a moment. But just to update you on some other scores around the league for football. Obviously, Liberty took down Middle Tennessee. UTEP beat Kennesaw State.
Which Kennesaw fired their coach after that game. So Brian Bohannon
It's unbelievable.
got
Oh,
fired.
I thought that our win was giving him an extra year.
By the way,
how we lose that
by the
football?
way, that you talk about
How do we lose that football?
Talk about a program that seems to be a mess right now. The guy built the program from nothing, got them to the FCS playoffs, one of the best teams in the FCS.
He gets fired
First year in the FBS, and you say, you're done. And wasn't that double overtime game to UTEP?
To UTEP, no.
Oh, was that not?
That was
I was
final.
thinking that was one of the overtime
No.
ones. But like knocks off Liberty, one of the biggest upsets in the entire season, and then
First
you're like,
FBS win.
well,
out.
during the year, you let him go during the year. And not only that, if you've been following some of the stuff
There's gotta
online,
be some deeper stuff going on there.
they put out that he stepped down. He tweeted and said, no,
stop.
I did not quit.
Yeah.
I was told I'm gone. So it's things are in disarray right now in our Owl country.
Jack State, it took overtime for them to take down La Tech.
That was
a wild game.
Hail Mary at the end of the ballgame to tie it.
So Jack State throws a Hail Mary. How like Hail Mary? What do you say?
What was like 40, 50 yards?
So
I think?
it was a true Hail Mary.
Yeah. And then
They missed
extra
the
point to win it. They miss it. What I didn't see, I wasn't watching live. I would love to have a camera on Rich Rod for that. That had to have been beautiful.
Oh, it must have been.
And then they end up winning eventually. But yeah, wild.
And then Western Kentucky remains perfect as well, taking down New Mexico State. New Mexico State has had a rough going this season. They are just praying that Diego Pavia can get that 16th year.
Did you see that, by the way? You see Pavia suing the NCAA?
Yeah.
Yeah, to get that extra year of eligibility.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
because
he did.
their argument.
He said the JUCO years don't count.
This is going to be interesting,
Really?
Joe. Yeah, this is bigger picture.
Yeah.
But they're saying now with the way that football is and the ability for athletes to make money, they're like, JUCO shouldn't have counted. He couldn't get NIL back then. So now they're suing to try to get another year.
Unbelievable.
I don't
Diego
know. If so,
Pavia.
think about all the guys. We thought we were just out of those COVID years and trying to figure out. That opens up how many people that played JUCO to now suddenly stay in college longer.
Watch that lawsuit.
Yeah. Crazy.
Moving ahead for next week, Sam Houston had a bye this week. They will play Kennesaw State, so that's probably looking like a guaranteed win there. And then the other league game next week is Jack State and FIU, Western Kentucky, and La Tech. So, again, we're kind of rooting for Western Kentucky to get upset, correct?
Yeah, so the simplest way, and there may be other ways.
Is there a path to
yes,
victory?
there's a path.
I think
there's a path.
There's
a path.
There's a path.
There's a path to victory?
There's a path.
I
You
think
got to
so,
win
yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Wait,
so, yeah.
no, that was hold on. Wait, I'm sorry. That was different. No,
Georgia won.
Yeah.
Florida won. Pennsylvania. So we're looking at all the swing
You
states.
Yeah, all the swing states.
Michigan. What's our shot at
Yeah,
Michigan?
I don't know. No, basically what you
Ohio
need.
won.
The easiest way
Red.
Jack State wins out,
Okay, Jack State wins out.
we win out. And it's us at Jack State for the title.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
No.
so. I think
Yes.
so because we
No.
would
Because
have.
Jack State would beat Western Kentucky, we would beat Western Kentucky. Therefore,
they
we
would
would
have
have the
two losses,
tiebreaker.
yeah.
Jack State would beat Sam Houston, we would beat Sam Houston. Because basically, they're playing the opposite.
So what you're
of us at
saying
the
is
end.
Western Kentucky would have 2 losses, and we would have 2
We would have
losses.
the tiebreaker.
But we get the tiebreaker because we beat them.
Absolutely. So you're telling me
There is
there's
a
a
path to
chance.
victory.
You're telling me there's a
There's a
chance.
So you're
You know,
telling
like one I totally forgot from Dumb and Dumber, which might be my favorite line of all time. I can't believe
I'm
it.
sorry, my
You
friend's
did.
a little slow.
Yeah.
No, this one. Ma'am, what is your soup du jour? That's the soup of the day. That sounds
That's-
good. I think I'll have that. That's a
That is a
classic.
classic.
So many classics.
I've
We'll
done that
talk-
at a restaurant multiple
Yeah,
times.
I'm sure you
We'll
have.
talk a little bit more with our bold predictions as
Yes.
as Liberty hits
It was
the
a
road to
special
UMass.
week in the Snell scoring system, by the way.
Was it?
I
Really?
think that I hit it.
Special week.
I don't know what I
Yes.
did, but I think
all
I
time.
said
All time
Really?
week. Yes.
I think I'm having a good week. So we'll get to that just after this conversation with Kaden Metheny. For the first time ever on the show,
Yes.
this is an honor. So you might not realize this until you're like walking around campus.
It'll be
and people are
years later
Wait, is
that
that
it'll hit
Kaden
you."
Metheny? That's
Yeah.
the kid that was on the Flame Central podcast, powered by
right.
Alcova Mortgage. Welcome to the show. Are you
you.
caught up on your sleep from
Wild
traveling
West Coast trip.
across the country?
Trying. It was a crazy trip, traveling middle through the night. But wouldn't want to travel with any other guys. Just love my teammates. Those trips are really special, just team bonding moments, and it's always better when you get a win too.
Right,
So,
coming home.
What do you do on the airplane when you guys are traveling? Are you playing cards? Are you hanging out?
So my
Little
seat buddy
euchre?
is Colin Porter. So we kind of like to watch the same type of shows. So we'll watch some shows together.
Okay.
A lot of guys do play cards. I'm not one of those. I like my shows. I'm
Yeah.
a big.
What's the show we're streaming
what's
right
the
now?
show right now?
So Colin would want me to say Outer
Girls.
Banks.
Okay.
No.
What did you say?
Isn't that reality?
Glamour
that's
girls.
Gilmore. Yeah.
But I'm not a big Outer Banks guy.
Is that a reality show?
No.
It's about
You don't know
them.
Outer Banks?
I was forced to watch season
Excuse
1.
me,
of
I'm
it.
No, yeah, I
watching-
bet you were forced.
I was forced.
Yeah. Don't try to act like
Yeah,
he was like
right.
that shows. He's all about that.
Right.
Yeah. He went on for like a half an hour about The Bachelor. What's the golden years or whatever?
Oh,
the
you
old,
watch
the old
that
people
one?
Bachelor.
Of course.
Joe's
You-
all of that.
Oh my gosh, this is awful.
No,
What
I
about
watched one
Tulsa
episode.
King?
Okay.
I watched one episode. It's awful.
It's so bad. Joe's just mad because he didn't get the invite to be on it. I'm kidding. Dina, I'm kidding.
don't
I'm-
don't do
Don't get Joe in trouble.
I'm kidding. Before we talk about the game, what did you guys do in Seattle? I saw you hit the fish market, right?
Yes, at the fish market. We had an early practice on Friday, and then the rest of the day just to kind of hang out and explore a little. We hit up the Pike Place Market, which was really cool.
That's where they slinging the fish.
Yeah.
Sling the fish. Yeah,
Yeah.
you crazy. Might almost hit one of us.
Did you catch one?
No.
Do they let the people there, like random people, catch them, or is it just?
I'm not
think
sure.
so?
That's a good
I
question.
think they do. I think like every once in a while, like you could catch a fish.
That's
it's coming your way.
That
you
didn't
catch it.
happen with us,
Yeah,
but we definitely saw them throwing them.
Yeah, okay.
And then got myself some clam chowder, which
A little
was
clam chowder.
I'm
just
sure incredible.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we just explore and saw the Ferris wheel and everything. So it was pretty cool being able to explore Seattle.
Do you now, like senior, right? Last
Yeah.
go around, like,
Yeah.
do you appreciate these times a lot more than you did 2-3 years ago? Like,
No
just
doubt,
even
yeah.
knowing that, like, hey, we won't be able to hang together ever
Right.
again after this
Yeah.
year like this. Do you appreciate it that much
No
more?
doubt, no doubt, and especially here at Liberty with just the type of teammates that I have. Just being able to call them brothers and having those moments with them, it's awesome, man. Those guys, I truly love them and truly can call them brothers. So really, really awesome to be able to have those moments for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yep.
When that shot was leaving your hands, you knew it was going in, right? When you hit the game winner.
It felt good leaving the hands. Yeah,
Yeah?
it felt good, and I mean, Colin and I have a special connection. Him throwing me the pass, I expect it to go in every time he passes it to me. And he's just a great point guard out there and put me in the right spot. So all credit to my teammates just to put me in the right spot there. But yes, it felt
awesome.
good.
Shout out to Nick Pierce for that call too. That was a really good call.
So when you're shooting a shot like that, right? If you had 10 shots like that, when it lets go of your hand, how early do you know like this thing's going in or not? And how often are you right about it? Like 9 out of 10 or every time?
If it feels good,
know it.
If it feels good, it's 9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah, that thing's going in. And that just happened to be one of them. But if it feels bad, 9 times out of 10, it's not going in.
So you know what?
Okay, real quick.
Right.
Well, that spot, and I thought of it at the moment. We have people that text me the same thing. They're like, "That's the exact same spot on the court you hit that Louisiana Tech shot. Was it? Is that just the spot?"
I don't know. It appears so.
Yeah.
It appears so. It just so happened to be in that spot. But yeah, I got flashbacks right when I shot it. I was like, holy cow! Like, yeah, this is pretty identical.
Yeah.
But this time Colin was passing it to me instead of Zach, which those are my guys. So wouldn't want it to be receiving from the pass from any other 2 guys.
So what does your training look like? Like how many threes are you putting up a day, let's say in the summer? Maybe not like in season because it is a little different, but what does it look like and how many shots are you taking?
Right, yeah. Well, if Coach McKay is listening, I shoot a lot of threes.
Yes.
I practice a lot, like as much as I can. But no, we got a lot of hard workers, here at Liberty, our managers, our support staff, and our GAs are incredible. You can hit them up whenever, and they'll go in and rebound for you. So those are awesome guys. Those are servants that we appreciate on a daily basis. So being able to get that extra work because of our servants and our managers and GAs, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
I was thinking, and actually I was texting with Naz during this game some, and as it was getting late, I was like, it's going to be interesting to see who's taking the big shots late with this group. We know you've done it. We know what Zach can do and all, and we've seen obviously Colin hit some big ones in his career. Mm-hmm. But you look at this roster now, you say, all right, Javon Moffmer, you know what? I bet the last 2 or 3 years at Cedarville, the ball was in his hands at the end of the game. Talon Peter at Arkansas Tech, whatever, I bet the ball was in his hands at the end. So all these guys are used to being the guy at the end of the game. Now it's different. Like how do you see that kind of sorting itself out? How do you see you guys meshing, knowing that these guys were the dudes where they came from, and now their role may be a little bit different?
Yeah, I mean, that's just all credit to the new guys that we brought in, just coming in with an open mind, coming in and just accepting whatever role they have, and a credit to our returners. Just, hey, if my role is a little diminished because these guys are coming in, then we're all for it. We're all for the win, and that's just coming from Coach McKay. Like, he teaches it from the start, and we all appreciate it. We all love it, and no matter who it is, like you said, it was my night that night to shoot the big one, but next game it could be Zach, could be Javon, could be Talon, could be Colin. So that's just the blessing that we have as a team, that it could be any one of us nights, and we're happy for that. We're happy to see our brother succeed, and I think we could be pretty special just because of that.
Now, were those plays when you go on the end of a game in those situations, is that drawn up for a specific person? Like, we want to get this guy the shot, or is it more of like, okay, here's a play we're going to run, however they plan on guarding us, however they defend us, whoever happens to get the shot gets the shot. How is that looked at from the scheming aspect of things?
I might not give you the real answer.
Yeah, exactly. Get a little too much inside
information.
Right. Give me the meaty answer. Right?
Meaty answer, hey, we're just going to get the best shot that we want. We're going to get the ball.
All right, when we stop rolling, we'll really answer there. What, when you're going on a trip like this, all the way across the country, what can this type of win? Doesn't matter how you guys got the victory and what it looked like to get there, but what can this do for the team moving forward?
1,000%. Just like we said, we have a lot of new guys. So this trip was awesome for team bonding, like we've been talking about, but also just give us the confidence, because we know the schedule that we have ahead of us. Got a game tomorrow, but against Carolina University, but then we're going to Charleston to play Charleston and FAU, and those are 2 phenomenal mid-major programs. And then, as you guys know, Conference USA is a beast in itself. So just giving us a confidence boost just to go into these next few games and conference play will really help. because we got a bunch of new guys. But it doesn't seem like it because we've been practicing since June though as well.
Right.
So
you look at the court. I mean, you look at that Valpo game.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought was, my gosh, every time a shot goes up, look at all these massive guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not. It's not like you're huge, right? But it's like, oh man, like Aquino's as big as Zach. Like, look at those two guys on the court together. We're huge. Like, it feels that way compared to a year ago.
Yeah.
Does it feel different for you? Have you had to play any differently just because of how this team it looks different?
No, 1,000%. Like I said, going since June, I knew immediately that we had a little more size and length when I was driving it to the hoop one practice in the summer, and all of a sudden Owen Aquino just comes and smacks it against the backboard, and I was like, okay, yeah, I wasn't experiencing this last year in practice. So it's definitely helped me, and especially Colin as well. Just expanding our game as well in practice, going up against these guys that are the length and athleticism. And last year in conference play, I mean, we were in every game. We believe we should have won every game. But then going into this year, we knew what kind of needed to change. Just the athleticism and length, and Conference USA is a beast in itself, like I said. So we're pretty happy with what we got on this team, and super confident with the guys that we have.
As a shooter, do you feel with having more length and the ability to offensive rebound, like you're more open to taking more shots now? Like knowing that, like last year, maybe like, hey, I got to be very selective with my shots because we're not going to be as good on the glass. But now that you have more length and ability to offensive rebound, do you feel more freedom to be able to shoot the ball?
Yeah, it definitely opens the game a little bit more. But also having Kyle Rode on your team as well opened the game a little more as well. Just having that leadership and his shooting ability. But yeah, just having our length obviously we're only 2 games in, but starting to find some shots that are a little easier than what was last year, just more open. And then like you said, the offensive rebounding, just having Owen Aquino and Isaiah, Javon, they second chance points, and we're getting second chance points that we didn't get last year. And then also on the defensive end, you do one little mistake, but we can kind of cover that up a little bit better with some rim protection. I know Coach McKay wouldn't want me to say cover it up, but yeah. So just on the defensive side, I think is more so the difference than the offensive side. Just with the length that we have some rim protection and getting some rebounds that we might not have last year.
Who do you think would win in a 3-point contest between you and Emma Hess?
See, so when we lift, we can see into the women's practice gym, and we see. I always see her shooting on the gun. Yeah, that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one. She can shoot it, man. Yeah. She's awesome though. She can shoot that thing. I'd like to see it.
Let's do it. Let's set it up. And then my next question was, what do you know about the Players Lounge? Have you been on the Players Lounge?
I have. I think I was the first one last year.
You were the first one.
He was the very first one.
I think I was.
Yeah, it's only gone downhill since then.
No, I think it had.
That was one of my. You had one of my favorite lines when you asked who your player comp was, and you said they said TJ. You said TJ McConnell, and they're like, why? And you're like, isn't it obvious?
Take it as you see it.
Yeah, take it as you see it. That was great. Yeah. So yeah, he was the first one. If that had failed, it may have never gotten off the ground.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that, because I don't think anyone has truly appreciated the first one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate
People
that.
years from now will go back and be like, where did it all begin?
Where did it all begin?
And then you were
They
there.
are such fools. We're trying to think, because I know J.C. Strider Jr. like dressed as Santa Claus last year, but we're trying to think of like a good.
It got real awkward with Colin Porter ended up on his lap. It got real awkward.
I think that was the fan favorite. Though.
Yeah.
That one was. That got some good reactions.
Really weird. Yeah. So I don't. Maybe we want, like, because I feel like maybe one of them might dress up in yellow tights and be Elf this year. So yeah, maybe we steer away.
You never know what you're gonna do.
Maybe we'll do a Valentine's Day one. Just skip over the Christmas idea. But all right, you guys got anything else for Kaden?
I guess just last thing would be, you talked about Kyle Rode, and we know what his leadership was like, the biggest voice in the room, all that. Who's taking on that now? I know don't come across as the most outspoken guy, right? Who's taking on that leadership role now? How has your leadership and how you handle that changed?
I think first, G McKay, he's got a huge voice in our locker room. Obviously, you guys see his personality, but he knows the game. Obviously, with just his family, coaching Coach McKay, but we rely on his voice heavily. He brings juice every single day. But then, like you said, losing Kyle Rode, you can't replace Kyle Rode with just one guy. So I think as our returners, we kind of knew that coming into this year. So we collectively said, all right, we got to fill his shoes collectively. I think that's been one good thing though in this year, where we're not relying just on one voice in that locker room. It's a collective effort, and we all support each other's voice as well and lean on each other. So it's not just one person. Yeah. I will highlight Gabriel McKay just because of how awesome his voice is, but it is a collective effort with us.
With losing Kyle from that leadership standpoint and as a player, obviously, what is the one biggest difference that you've seen in this team that has helped make up for it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's too much of a huge difference, but just how connected we are with so many new guys is just, you don't see that often. And coming from me being a transfer, having the perspective that I have, I've gone through a roster change from in my team's past, right. And it's different. It's different here, having new guys and being able to connect like we have in such a short period of time. And like I said earlier, it's truly a blessing with the guys that Coach McKay brings in. And also just the returners being able to look at these new guys and being able to bring them in with an open mind. I wouldn't say it's too much of a difference, but just a connection from the jump.
It's hard with those transfers.
1,000%.
Well, and you think too, like, I mean, if you're a returning guy, like, it would be easy to be like, listen, man, like, sure. This guy isn't taking any of my shots. You know, like, it'd be easy to be a little bit like, no, you're not. Don't step in and take my game. Anything from me. And so that says a lot about you guys as well.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
Congrats on that great victory on the road. And, maybe we'll look into a show for you, because I know Gabriel McKay and JC got their show. Yeah. So maybe we have some if you want to host your own
just
show.
Like Matt said, I'm glad that he highlighted. I was the first one.
Yeah.
That's what started it.
Yeah.
That's what started it.
Yeah. We'll make sure people don't.
Oh my gosh, the ratings have only plummeted since then. Kaden Metheny, thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
This team is going to be a lot of fun to watch, but it's a long season. Remember when you look back to last year, they played so well in that tournament. So hopefully they can keep this rolling, continuing to learn each other. Yeah. We are on the call.
That Seattle team was good.
They're good. Yeah.
What was Richie saying about them during the podcast? He's something about the last few years they've been
really good. I want to say
were they a tournament team?
And maybe Bill can correct me here. They were like 42-8 in their last 50 home games.
Yeah, it was like
crazy
number.
I'm getting a nod, so I'm in the ballpark over there. So that's a tough place to play and win.
Yeah.
So that's a really good win.
And it was packed out there too.
Yeah.
Very good win.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so early. These guys are still learning each other. So many new pieces on this team, but we all have trust in Rich McKay. If you missed our conversation with Coach McKay, look back to last week. It's some good stuff. All right, moving forward with home opener, like you said, tomorrow night. We were on the call for that. Carolina U coming to the Berg.
Not the Tar Heels. No. Carolina U.
The one Joe would actually show up and support us if it was that.
Joe might.
That's a ridiculous
He's a basketball.
I go to basketball games all the time. I'm a huge basketball fan.
Everyone
by the way,
up.
Speaking of that, when Joe Yock did come to the last home, I believe it might have been the last home game, Liberty, and somebody made a certain call about who was going to win the tournament last year in the what conference were we in?
USA, and it was Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Western. Yeah. I was saying the conference. I was thinking ASUN. I was thinking
he really stood by that decision.
No.
He did a lot of research.
Yes, Western Kentucky. That's right.
I know.
And I called it.
You've been living off that for a while.
Yeah. All right. So moving forward, football on the road at UMass on Saturday.
You want the Snell scoring system?
Let's do the Snell scoring system because I have a feeling that I nailed this one.
Best week we have all collectively ever had, according to Jeff Snell. Best week we have ever had.
Points. I don't care about that.
Joe predicted 32-21 or 31-21. Emily went 35-17. I
nailed it.
31-7. You didn't nail it. It was 37-17 was the final. She went 35-17. I went 31-17. So Emily wins this week. I finished second. Emily is still alive in the chase. I now have 9 overall points. Emily's 7.5. Joe's down there somewhere. 3.5.
Yes, Joe has 2.
So Emily's still alive in the Snell scoring system. There's still a chance.
Okay. So UMass, what are y'all going?
I will go 30.
They're terrible, right?
They are bad.
They're bad.
I will go 35-17.
Oh, jeez.
No, 35-13.
Oh, that's
no,
what I was
35-21 Liberty.
Oh, my gosh, this is painful.
35-21 Liberty. Emily, what do you got?
I'm going to go 45-13. I think the run game, I think it's just going to open everything up. We're going to
What's UMass's record right
I
now?
think they have 2 wins.
Who did they play against last?
I don't have all this.
Give me
in front of
the
me.
info.
They're 2-7 overall.
Who did they play last?
They played Mississippi State and lost 45-20. Actually, that's not.
Mississippi
They've
State's
beaten
awful.
Wagner. I can tell you that.
Wagner 35-7. Missouri, they lost 45-3. NIU, they played some pretty tough teams. 34-20.
Central Connecticut was their other one, 35-31. So
Yeah.
it's not been great.
31, 24 Liberty.
24, they're close. Okay.
Wow.
It's getting close.
Wait, so are we going to do like what we're calling?
No, we're
no.
just doing
Okay,
that.
we'll skip
Hey,
through that. Go ahead.
I do want to give one quick shout out before we get to fantasy and wrap this thing up.
Quentin Cooley scores 3 touchdowns.
Okay, there you go. Jack Warner, my son, 11th birthday today.
Jack.
So
Happy birthday, Jack. And what did he win?
By the
for
way,
his
over the
birthday?
weekend, won his 2nd straight flag football championship.
You won it?
We won it. We won it together. Not a big deal. People are throwing
Some of
around.
the stories of the other coaches are
People are
hilarious.
throwing around the word dynasty a little bit. A
Cactus
little
Jack.
premature.
You're talking
for
about
that.
Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack. You know.
Good,
Cactus
good
Jack
weekend for the
Warner.
Warner
Good weekend for the
family
Warners.
because Em also won her soccer championship. And then the Chiefs. Oh my gosh!
Never a doubt.
It is.
Never a doubt.
It is so ridiculous.
I mean,
I'm not even
never
going to
a
go
doubt.
on that rant.
Special
you
teams.
know?
No,
It's part of the
because
game.
It's just so
part of the game.
ridiculous how the Chiefs.
Because of Matt
Pull it
Warner,
off
Matt
every year.
Warner's influence over. I mean, he's a great example. Let me finish with him. He's a great example for the young kids. He's always he coaches young kids.
Yeah, because he gets all this frustration out in the JPL and throwing rackets and poor
That's
attitude.
right. The kids don't see that. No. The kids don't see that. We
Cool,
don't let
cool,
them behind
calm,
the
collected.
curtain. We don't let them behind the curtain. So he's a great example for the kids. And so my youngest son, Reese, has always really looked up to Matt. Right. And he became a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
Because of Matt.
Oh yeah, that's
Basically
so hard to do.
because of Matt, right? And so
It's all about the kids.
yesterday we had just gotten home from a lax tournament in Williamsburg, and I put on the YouTube, and we're watching the ball game, and Reese goes in the bathroom, and from the bathroom I hear him yell, "They blocked it!
Yep.
They blocked it! Chiefs win!"
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
man.
good.
Thanks so much for listening and watching to another great Flames Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage.
One more
But
thing.
before we go,
Last
Flames
thing,
fantasy update.
Flames
Sorry.
fantasy, big week for Emily. She ended up scoring 37 points. She's up to 197 on the year. I had an awful week, up to 208. Joe's running away with it, 281 points. He is cruising to a fantasy championship. So that's why
he's
get,
called the
You know
German
why?
tank, baby.
that's why we give it
He's
such
a
a little
runaway
amount of time
tank.
at the end.
I just have to bring him back down because all that pacing and all his cruising. Yeah, but has he ran the mile? No. And this is perfect weather to train for the mile.
He's running out of
and
time on that.
It's ridiculous. Thanks so much again for Joe and Matt. I'm Emily. We'll see you right back here next week.
Chris.
Chris.